Hey everyone, it's Amy, Old Book New Look. Today is Saturday, January 21st, 2012. I almost said 2011. Nope. Um, this video is going to be a response to one of the questions that was asked of me. Basically, this past week I tried making the Q&A video and it just didn't work out. I talk too much for all those videos to be, all those questions and answers to be in one video. So I'm just going to pick them apart and do one question at a time or a couple related questions at a time. And I'm going to start with the one that was actually asked most recently, because I'm really glad that this question was asked. Question is, what is your daily count for calories, protein, and carbs? Here's the answer. My usual daily count for calories is 800. Here's the thing though. Over this past 6 months, I'm going to be 6 months post-op pretty darn soon. I have not been regularly keeping track of my calories and nutrition intake, because I felt really confident, and I do still feel very confident that I'm only eating up to half a cup of food, because I know, over the past 6 months I learned really quickly, because I did weigh and measure everything in the beginning. I got a really good sense of what a quarter of a cup looked like, what a half a cup looked like. And a lot of the things that I eat are pre-portioned out, and I know how much they weigh, or usually how much they weigh. For example, my turkey pepperoni that I eat, I know that 17 slices is 0.85 ounces. My cheese sticks, I know they're an ounce. I know, my Greek yogurt is pre-portioned out for 4 ounces. So a lot of things I didn't need to weigh and measure. And those things that weren't pre-measured for me, I felt pretty confident in knowing, in being able to eyeball it. And I still do feel that way. And I also have, from the beginning, it was really important for me to learn to really pay attention to my body and my stomach and know when I've had enough. Because that's one of the things that got away from me when I did gain all my weight and things started feeling out of control for me. I felt like I just was not, I was past the point of paying attention to my stomach, and that was one of my bad habits, was kind of zoning out while I was eating and eating way too much. So that was something that I was really careful when I started after surgery, was to make sure that I did not make that mistake again. And that's one of those things that I'm going to have to keep on myself about, to make sure that I don't slip back into that old habit, that bad habit. I feel like I've done a really good job at making a good habit out of paying attention to every bite and how it's feeling in my stomach, how it's settling in my stomach, and when being able to recognize when I've had enough to eat. So a lot of times, because I use bowls that are that I know only hold a half cup of food, a lot of times I know that I've got a half a cup of food in front of me, but most of the time I don't finish it all, because it's more important to me to stop eating when I feel like I've had enough. So anyway, sorry I went down that track there and totally lost where I was going in the first place. Um, so that's why, so I wasn't really measuring and weighing everything. The exception to that, though, was if I hit a stall. I have hit a couple of stalls, and each time that I hit a stall, I made sure that I would track everything that went into my body for a week. Um, and so during those times when I did track, it kind of reassured me that I was doing the right thing and I hadn't let my portion sizes get out of bigger than they should be, because it turned out that they were correct, and everything I was tracking was right where it should have been, everything that's been recommended to me, and would naturally end up being about 800 calories for the day. So, but since this question had been asked, I said, I'm going to go ahead and track my calories for the week, track everything that goes in for the week, and just so that I can give you a more concrete answer, and know that that's what the answer would be. So I've been using myfitnesspal.com. I've also used Livestrong, and I do like Livestrong. But the thing about MyFitnessPal is it has apps available. So I don't have a smartphone, but I did get a Kindle Fire for Christmas for my parents, for my mom, and so I've been able to put the MyFitnessPal app on my Kindle Fire, which is really, really convenient. Let's keep it on my screen here. Okay. So if you go to myfitnesspal.com, my food diary is public, so if you wanted to look up Old Book New Look, all one word, on myfitnesspal.com, you could take a look at everything I've been eating for the past week. And what I decided through this week, and why I'm so glad that this question was asked, is that I think I'm going to continue to track all my nutrients and track everything that I eat. I've found it really, really helpful this past week. So I'm going to keep doing it. So let me get back to the question, though, in answering more specific parts of it. So we've already talked that I average around 800 calories for a day. Now the thing with that, I don't stress if I'm above or below by 100 calories. Because again, it's more important to me that I'm making good choices, good food choices. And by that, I mean I'm choosing foods that are high in protein, low in calorie, that have really good calorie to protein ratio. By a good calorie protein ratio, I would say I aim to get about 10 grams of protein per 100 calories, or a better ratio than that, but around that ratio. So things that I eat, like my turkey pepperoni that I like maybe a little too much, is 17 slices, 0.85 ounces, 70 calories for that, and 9 grams of protein, which is an awesome ratio. There are tons of food. A lot of the foods that I eat have excellent ratios. Another example that I really like are the Sorrento Colby Jack cheese sticks. They're 1 ounce, and they're 70 calories for, I think those ones are 6 grams of protein, so it's not as good a ratio, but it's still a good ratio. Greek yogurt's another example of something that's got a great ratio to it. There's lots of foods like that. But at any rate, so, that, and I try to make sure that my fat And the calorie to protein ratio is the most important thing to me when I'm looking at quality food. The next thing is sugar. Trying to keep it below 3 grams of added sugar in what I'm eating. The next thing is fat. I try to keep it below 4 grams of fat for what I'm eating. But sometimes I do go above that with fat. But I try to keep most of my foods under that. And most of my foods are under that mark. Anyway, I'm blabbing. Moving on. Asked me about protein. How much protein do I get in a day? I aim to get 80 grams of protein per day. But I range from 80 to 110. I love my protein. And if you're making basing your food choices on having a really good calorie to protein ratio, really high protein for really low calorie, then you're not gonna have trouble getting your protein in my opinion, at least for me. It's worked out that way that I haven't really had to work at it. I aim for 80, but most days I exceed that just because I don't really have to work at it. So there's that. Carbs. I do not count carbs. I count sugar, which is part of carbs. It's a type of carb. It's a subdivision of carbs. The reason for that, I think, is just because I'm not eating the types of foods that carry a lot of unhealthy carbs in them. I don't eat rice, I don't eat bread, I don't eat pasta, I don't eat flour, I don't eat cereals. The only exception to that is I sometimes use oatmeal, like quick oats, as a replacement for breadcrumbs in my meatballs. But that's once or twice a month. I don't know. How many times do I eat meatballs? So I'm not consuming the type of unhealthy carbs that come along with those foods. You know what I mean? What I have to be careful of, though, is how much sugar I take in because, I don't want to dump, which I haven't dumped, and I don't know if it's because I just don't dump, because some Roux-en-Y patients don't experience that, or if I just haven't eaten enough sugar to be able to experience that, which I'm perfectly fine with. I'm not going to try to dump. So I look at sugar. I don't look at carbs. And I only look at added sugar. I don't worry about and I don't count natural sugar. So I eat fruit. I do not drink fruit juice, but I eat fruit. Because if you look at the amount of sugar that's in a piece of fruit, then that's one thing. But in order to get a glass of juice, you have to you have to squeeze out the juice from 10 pieces of that fruit in order to get one glass of juice, and then you're drinking 10 times the amount of sugar. Know what I'm saying? So I don't do fruit juice, but I do eat fruit a couple times a day. And so I don't count the sugar from that, and I don't count the sugar that naturally occurs in things like yogurt. Plain yogurt. I have to count the sugar that comes in the types of yogurt that have fruit at the bottom or whatever. So that's that. That's my spiel about carbs. Tracking exercise. I do like to track my exercise and see how many calories I've burned in a day, but I do not let that change the amount of calorie intake I use or aim for. So I aim for 800 calories no matter what. If I burn 200 calories in a day, I still just do 800 calories intake. Know what I'm saying? Some people, like if they burn 200 calories in a day, they're going to add an extra 200 calorie onto their calorie count for the day. So instead of consuming 800 calories, they're going to consume 1,000. I don't do that. What I eat is what I eat. You know, how much I eat and the types of food that I eat are not going to vary depending on how much I've exercised. Yeah, so that's it. Like I said, if you want to check out what I've been eating all week, you can go to myfitnesspal.com and search for Old Book New Look. I'm really, like I said, I'm really glad that this question was asked. In the past week in doing this exercise, I've realized there are some things I want to tweak. I want to tweak my breakfasts. I've been kind of hooked on Greek yogurt, which isn't a bad thing, except that I do the Greek yogurt with the fruit on the bottom. And I used to do the Chobanis with the fruit on the bottom, but Chobanis are 6 ounces, so I could only eat, 4 ounces out of that. So what I would end up doing is just mixing a little bit of the fruit in, just for some flavoring, but keeping the majority of the fruit at the bottom, and not eating it. But then I found some 4-ounce cups of, it's like Stonyfield Farms Oikos, and it's organic Greek yogurt with fruit at the bottom. They're 4 ounces, so now I'm eating the whole 4-ounce container with the fruit at the bottom. So I am consuming probably more sugar than I should be. It hasn't made me dump. I don't think there's enough added sugar in it to make me dump. And my nutritionist said the same thing. She thought that the majority of that sugar was natural sugar from the fruit and the yogurt. But still, because it's hard to be sure of how much added sugar I'm consuming in those, I feel like I don't need the Greek yogurt. I can find an alternative. I mean, I don't need the Greek yogurt with the fruit on the bottom. I can find an alternative to that. So that's something that came out of this that I'm going to be working on and tweaking in my diet. I did do eggs for a while, but I found that with eggs I was having issues in the bathroom. But that was before I was really eating some fruit, and the fruit kind of counteracts that. So maybe if I did, an egg in the morning with some fruit, then maybe that would be a good alternative. I don't like plain Greek yogurt, and I don't like flavoring things with Splenda. Maybe I need to get over that. But I feel like, as a weight loss surgery patient, I'm already consuming so many things with artificial sweeteners in them that I just hate to keep adding more and more artificial sweetener into my diet. I don't know, maybe I just need to get over that. Maybe I will. I don't know. Any suggestions for my Greek yogurt? Plain Greek yogurt? Throw them down in the comment box. I'd love to get your suggestions on that. So, anyway, you guys have a great week. I'm actually going to make another video. I'm going to make an update video because it's been a while since I've done that. And there have been some things that have been going on this week. So, but anyway, I just wanted to answer that question, and I'll answer another one next week. And I hope you have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye!